Welcome back for another episode, Spirit Bus 33 fam. Jyotishamara here, once again, excited to take a little trip with you, expanding our consciousness, learning how to become our favorite versions of ourselves during this earth experience. Join me each week as we evolve together, exploring traditional, holistic, interdimensional, and sometimes really woo spiritual minded thinking and practices.
Your spiritual beings having a human experience.
Thank you for evolving with me, for chilling in this space, for being on the same frequency. Oh, this week it brought up so many repetitive lessons. First, though, check in. Before you listen to this, take a moment, take care of your needs, check in on your comfort. If you're sitting, are you comfortable? Do you need a drink? A pillow? If you're standing, walking, driving, slow down, check in, fix any sensations that are uncomfortable. Part of becoming our favorite versions of ourselves is learning to take care of our needs, to parent ourselves. So take a deep breath, center, ground yourself. All right, back to the downloads of the week. Think for a moment about a huge transition that you've made in your life. One that you were working towards changing yourself or learning something new. And there was this in between part of the transition where you were not quite the finished version yet. Example from my life, when I was about, I think, a freshman in high school, I wanted to be a cheerleader. And when I got accepted to be on the team, I needed to not only know the typical routines for cheerleading, but I needed to learn how to dance. And there was this awkward time period where I was technically a cheerleader, but I didn't know how to move my hips to dance to certain routines. I was acting as the role of a cheerleader prior to knowing how to be completely a cheerleader. Same thing, different chapters, a mom, a wife, a cat mom, a therapist, a coach, a spiritual mentor, lots of other ones. You see, we decide the role that we want to play, and then we learn how to play it. If we wait until we have the role completely figured out, chances are, well, first of all, chances are we'll never have it completely figured out, but also chances are we would never lean in because we need to practice. We practice as we are doing. Think about a life coach, for example. You can attend school, you can do trainings, you can do some role playing, but the true practice will be on the people that you're coaching. You will be playing the role of a coach before you feel or before you know how to be a coach. This is where I see people go into like freeze or flight response, fear of the transition, the time period where it might be obvious that you are desiring to accomplish, but not yet accomplished. writing the book, starting the new business, learning the trade, gathering the resources. This is where people become uncomfortable because vulnerability is high. It takes a lot of vulnerability to publicly, or even just in front of family and friends, show what you're working towards or show the imperfection of the transition. So many people stop due to this fear, freeze, avoid, run away from the uncomfortability, never knowing what might have been. A fear of failure. To create something big, bold, new, we have to be okay at failing or appearing to fail during the come up. Let's take podcast host, for example. 70% of new podcast hosts stop a few episodes in and throw in the towel. Those that are left, 50% of those that are left, they go to about 20 episodes and then they give up. When in reality, except for a small amount, in reality, the majority, it takes years to have a successful podcast. Same with having a successful book. Many authors stop promoting their book after their initial release, and they don't write another one after the first. Because maybe their first one, they realized that it was going to take a lot of work to promote it, or it wasn't what they expected. It wasn't a big hit. When in reality, it can take dedication and time to promote your work and then to create more books or more other works of arts to promote. Also, though, there's a flip side that's pretty important to talk about. We are always watching people turn in to their next versions of themselves. And many people talk shit. They poke fun at the notice of someone reaching for a big dream, putting themselves out there, especially if they knew a past version of that person that looked completely different. I have personally had this happen to me. People knowing a past version of myself, but not recognizing that my level up abilities are strong. When we see people reaching for the stars, so to speak, why knock them down? Likely a projection of insecurities. The key here, fam, the key is to not knock people down and to not allow projecting to knock you down. This is your earth experience. What are you going to experience? The reality is, these are all temporary roles we're playing. They're not coming with us. Once this experience is over, the role ends. I mean, maybe there might be some parts that stick around for upcoming generations to enjoy, but this is temporary. You get to create whatever reality you want. So I ask you again, what do you want to experience? What is at the core of your heart's desire to accomplish? Next step, write down everything. Do a brain dump. Just think about everything that you need to accomplish your goal, your desired experience. Don't worry about the how. Just write it all down or use an app if you're technologically savvy. And then put that all in order from first to last. And then break the first one down into very small, bite-sized pieces. And you work on step one. At the same time, you practice releasing the negative voices that are not yours. You didn't come into this earth experience thinking that you had limitations. That was taught. We are no longer giving ourselves unconditional love. We have to release this. I have to get it perfect or I'm not worthy. No. We have to release, if people don't approve, I'm not going to be a success. No. We have to release, I'm not capable of big things. Absolutely not. Enter unconditional love. I am loved before, now, and always. Again, I am loved before, now, and always. A quote from Peter Crone: perfectionism is a coping mechanism for the belief that there's something wrong with you. Good news, there isn't. Feel free to relax now. So, a reminder to learn what you need to stay grounded in your own energy. So, I recommend fine tuning practices prior to working on your favorite version of yourself. Perhaps some breathing to regulate your nervous system, some visualization to connect you with your senses, earth, your guides, feeding yourself, hydrating. Be intentional with your starting point, yet flexible enough to ebb and flow if needed. And this is an important part. At the end of your allotted time, write a little note to yourself about where you left off and where you would like to start again. And this process, it can be used for any change that you'd like to see in your life. If you're having a hard time getting into your flow, reach out. I can direct you to some resources, work with you if you feel aligned, just give you some encouraging words. It's important to have a supported space. And depending on what your dream is, you might have a large support system, or it might just be you to start. As we walk into our favorite versions of ourselves, our vibe, our energy will be a frequency that will attract everything and everyone that you need. With discernment, of course. Sometimes we attract vibrations that we're not in alignment with and we'll need to do some work. Remember that protective bubble for those of you that join the TikTok lives or have listened to a couple other episodes, that protective energy that we practice, cultivating around us. That's our aura. Think of it like an antenna. Some are barely reaching out, condensed, fearful. Others are reaching out so far that they have a hard time not absorbing. I enjoy Amora Kuan Yin's download on this to try to keep your reach about 3 feet around yourself when you're in public. Nature and home, that'll probably have a larger reach. So the following steps are drawn from the Pleiadian workbook. Of course, do your grounding and centering first. And as I give instruction for this, you can either do it while I'm saying, or, take it and do it at another time when you have capacity. So close your eyes and start to really feel your aura, the vibration around your body. Use your breath, inhale, and when you exhale, allow yourself to see how far your aura expands if possible. Allow yourself to feel a lack of expansion or if the expansion needs to be reeled in. Practice feeling this around your entire being. Compare the areas. Is it expanding different towards your head than it is your feet? Visualize adjusting the areas to reach out into this egg shape, 3 feet in each direction. You can use your hands if necessary to mold and shape the energy around you. Observe your body, the sensations you're having, your emotions. And then allow yourself to visualize a shower of wisdom, abundance, clarity, love. These drops are pouring into your aura from every direction. And then visualize a protective layer on the outside of your aura that shields you at all times. And then there's an opening at the bottom. And with your permission, it opens up and it starts pulling out limiting belief systems, imposter syndrome, conditioned negative responses. The bottom seals up as you visualize it and can be repeated anytime that you desire. Of course, trust your intuition on this process. Change any step if your internal guidance system urges you to do so. This practice is going to help you recognize what is your energy versus another person's energy. It does not cut off empathy, it strengthens it. Loving others, caring for others, it's not healthy at the expense of our own capacity. When in public, start to practice adjusting the space around you. Remember that this takes practice, just like working to define a muscle or rewiring a neural pathway. Practice, practice, practice. Practice, create, evolve, repeat. Speaking of repeat, thank you to the listeners that have been here supporting me play the role of a podcast host for the first time during my Earth experience. And thank you to the new listeners for being here. You're all amazing, and I truly appreciate you. A reading from the Osho deck, a 3-card spread. First card comparison, number 5. Reminder that we can learn from one another when we're observing another person. Is I draw from a lot of different people's work, which inspires me, but it's not a comparison. Is there really is no comparison. There's not another you having this earth experience right now, unless there's some kind of weird, interdimensional different things going on. Anyway, as far as we know, there's not another you having this exact earth experience right now. So there is no need for comparison. And we have been conditioned to compare ourselves. Very conditioned, that we need to look a certain way, talk a certain blah, blah, all of that. Instead of stepping into our true authenticity and that our unique, weird self, that's where the vibe's at. Second card, exhaustion, number 9. Start to figure out what you need to shelf. If you're feeling fatigued, if you're feeling exhausted, start to listen to your body. Are you eating foods that are not good for you, that you're not in alignment with? Are you hydrating? Are you over caffeinating? Many people with concentration difficulties here. Too much caffeine equals fatigue. Start to really parent yourself. Start to recognize areas of this where you have a circle of control that you can make adjustments within. Last card, breakthrough. It's time. It's time to create your favorite version of yourself over and over and over again. Just see how amazing this earth experience can be for you. Regardless of what your circumstances are, I invite you to really lean out as far as you can to create the reality that you want. Thanks for joining. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in.